I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time.
Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I get the honor and the privilege of introducing you to extraordinary women. You know, a lot of podcasts are dealing with celebrities and all that. What interests me is ordinary women doing extraordinary things, change makers, that we're here to open the portals for others to grow, to heal, to transform, to transcend old ways of being. So, if that interests you, you are totally in the right place, and you're going to meet another fabulous woman today. We're on all the platforms: Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Amazon, video on YouTube. Just look for Women Awakening with Cynthia James and subscribe, share the videos, and invite people to come and see. We have interviewed now over 200 women around the world, and I want you to know they're extraordinary. So I have a new friend today. Her name is Alicia Newton. She's the founder and chief, she calls it encourager, at Learning Path LLC and development company. And it's focused on inclusive leadership development. She's a coach. She's a facilitator. She's an L&D consultant, instructional designer, and recovery advocate. She holds an MA in information and learning technologies with a concentration in e-learning design and implementation. What I love about what I read about her is that she's driven by a desire to help people grow and be their best selves. She engages with her community and with leaders across the industry to help develop and support their most valuable resource, their people. Well, Alicia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Cynthia, so much for having me.
Well, I'm really interested, but I always like to start at the beginning, where you grew up and how you grew up. A lot of times people look at successful people and they think they just sort of dropped in with this golden spoon in their mouth and they just went off and became successful. And that's not usually the journey for any of us. But how's your journey? How did you grow up?
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, listen, I always say I've had all of these divine detours. My path has definitely not been straight. I talk about that in my book, like all these divine detours. I was born in a small town in West Virginia and lived there till I was 10, and I moved to New York. And that was like my first real, it was a real transformative period for me going from a small town to New York City. We moved to Harlem and yeah, and so of course, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to fit in a big city, the country girl. And so I proceeded to go through the New York system. My mother was very much a education advocate, and we lived in Harlem. I never went to school in Harlem. I was always sent out of the neighborhood to go to school. I went to Franklin Prep for a couple years, and then I went to high school of performing arts, and then took a divine detour out of school and into just a period of rebellion and yeah, yeah. And so I stayed in New York until my first son, Jason, was born, and I moved back to West Virginia and stayed there for about a year, and then came to Atlanta on vacation and never went back. I was like, this is it. This is it for me. So,
Well,
yeah.
Well, you know what I love about that is, and I say this all the time, that I get the opportunity to meet sister souls, right? Because I grew up in Minnesota, I went to New York, and it's like, thank goodness there was a divine energy taking care of me because I was so stupid, and 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 I was, wanderlusting all over the place till I landed in my world. So I'm happy to meet you. So I want to know, where did this learning come from, this energy for you to get, a degree in instructional design and where did that come from?
Well, I've always been an avid reader. I've always been a writer. Just I was in a job at Home Depot, and I applied to work in the training department. And because I had such strong writing skills, they were like, yes. And I started my professional development in the training and the training department and learning and development. And I just found a place that I loved. I loved it. I loved facilitating. I was very good at putting training programs together. And my career just kind of took off from there. I went back to school later on and got my degree because I found that I enjoy seeing people find their answers and epiphanies and grow and connect. And that's what I like to do.
Well, I love that. I want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's so much going on right now. You know, some companies are like, need it, need it, need it. Other companies like, don't need it, don't need it, don't need it. And I, I just would like, first of all, can you just explain to our audience what is DEI and then
Right.
why you think it's important for organizations?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right. This is a very interesting time um, for the work. I think that if you are in the DEI profession right now, I just want to encourage you to stay encouraged because where we are, it feels like, and this tracks with the history in America, that we take two steps forward and then there's this pushback. And then we go forward and then there's a pushback. And that's been the history since, we were kidnapped and forced into labor camps here. So after slavery, there was Reconstruction and then the pushback, Jim Crow. Then there was the civil rights movement, and then there was the pushback, mass incarceration. Then there was Obama, and then there was the pushback, Trump. So here we are, 2020, we were all fired up. I was so excited that we were literally talking about the issues. Like we were literally talking about race, we were talking about anti-racism, we were talking about changing policies and laws and procedures that had been in place for years that was contributing to this horrible um uh these disparate outcomes, particularly for Black people across, every social dimension, whether we're talking about healthcare outcomes, disparities in wealth, disparities in healthcare, disparities in housing, you name it. So we were finally talking about it, and it was tragic that we literally had to witness a brother being murdered on across the media for companies to say, okay, we really need to address this because the world is diverse. Diversity is
Right.
right. We're like the world is diverse, is getting more diverse, and there's no going backwards. Either you learn how to lead inclusively, or your organization is going to be left behind because with all the pushback, it is what it is.
Well, yeah, and what's interesting about this is, I like that word interesting, is that it's we live in a diverse world and we're better together than siloing. And but we have to know each other. I take people on pilgrimages and I travel around the world and it's like I want it's so incredible to meet people, to learn their cultures, to learn what's important for them
Yes,
because they bring that into the work environment.
yes,
And the more we know about each other, the harder it is to be mean to each other.
yes, yes. That's how our lives get bigger. Like if you want your life to be bigger, your perspective to be bigger, your decision maker making to be better, you want diversity, right? And
Right.
and I echo what you say. I mean, I do a lot of travel internationally, uh, uh, in the country. I've been to most of the state, but every time I get to learn and meet someone who has a different life experience, it enriches mine. And I
Oh,
think the companies that get it, they benefit from diversity, inclusion, and equity. And those that
right.
don't get it are going to struggle.
Right. So let's talk a little, let's take a little deeper dive into the challenges of organizations that do not put any attention on DEI. What do we see?
Mm. What we see that your first of all, your economic performance, your ability to pivot, your ability to react to change, which is constant now. You like the organizations cannot have just one point of view. No one saw, say, the pandemic coming. We didn't see it coming, okay? Businesses are having their whole business models turned upside down in a blink. We have no idea where AI is going to take us. I personally love AI because it helps me be very productive, but I'm just saying we don't know. We don't know. And so if your team, your leadership team, and your employees are not diverse, bringing different perspectives, points of views, ideas, you are not going to be able to respond, nor are you going to be able to get the talent. Look at the Alpha Gen, look at Gen X, look at who are your next employees, who you're going to depend on to grow your business, to move your business forward. They're diverse.
Yes. And here's the thing. These young people coming up, they're not trying to get, 30-year watches. They want to grow, they want to be appreciated, they want to be understood, they want to have a voice
That's
in
right.
the organization.
That's
So, so I, when you, and I was reading, one of your beautiful testimonials, but when you go into a leader, what do you say to them about what you want to do for their organization?
hmm. So, whew, going talking to leaders. First of all, as a DEI consultant, you really have to listen and find out where the leader's head is, where the organization is, what type of industry is it? Because if I'm going in and I'm talking to a leader in a legacy organization versus a tech or you know, non-legacy organization, my approach varies based on where I know that particular industry is. But the thing that a CEO wants to know is how is this going to help me improve my bottom line? How is it going to help me engage people and so that they are motivated and productive? And how is this going to save me money? I mean, you speak to the business. What are your business goals? Let's talk about your
Right,
goals and
right.
how DEI, how having a diverse workforce and inclusive leadership is going to help you meet these goals. Let's unpack that. Let's
Yeah.
find, yeah. But it starts with the person. This work starts with yourself. I always say you have to find your why for the work because we are human. We do have bias. And this is a conscious way of being because you will intentionally include or you will unintentionally exclude with disastrous results.
100%. So tell me how this translates to your personal life. Are you married? Do you have children?
I am married. I got married 2 years in October, November, December, 3 months ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. My wife, Sharon Hartnett, is just the love of my life. She is everything. I do have two grown sons. They live here in the Atlanta area, and I have four grandchildren. So this work definitely, I mean, again, find your why for the work, right? I got introduced to DEI back working at an organization that had gotten sued. They were under a consent decree, and they were required by law to train their entire leadership population on DEI. And that was my introduction to the work. And I encourage leaders today, I mean, don't be reactive with this, be proactive.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, yeah, but I mean, it ties very, very closely for me. I mean, I want the generation coming up to have a better world, to have a more
Yes.
inclusive world, to be
Yeah.
seen and loved and valued and heard and supported.
Exactly. I just wrote a newsletter that's coming out in February about that. So I don't want to have a political conversation, but I do want to talk about we're living in a country that's super divided.
Yes.
We're living in a country where people aren't necessarily interested in becoming educated about certain things. So, um, what do you think are simple steps that people could take to become a little more open, a
Mm,
little more available, a little more connected?
yes, yes, yes. We are, that's a great question, Cynthia, because we are in a time, and I think fear is driving all of it.
Right,
And we getting out of the mindset that there's not enough because there is enough. We are abundant. There is abundance. Sharing, coming together, being a collective is where our power lives. Diversity is our strength. And so, but I think that takes a level of self-awareness, of mindfulness. All my research around how DEI, the work sticks, of course, it starts with ourselves. It starts with ourselves. So if I basically feel that the world is out to get me, there's not enough, and if I share power, the world's going to end, if that's my mindset, then that person has to do some work to shift their mindset. Do you really
right,
want to live in fear?
right, right. Well, it's really interesting. We live in the mountains in Colorado, and it's very clear to me that not everybody that lives around us is like me. But my husband and I decided if human beings have certain, like they want to feel safe, they want to have a home, they want to have food, they want their children to be safe, they want to feel valued, they want to feel appreciated. Those are like common traits. And so our thing was, what can we do with our neighbors to get to know them,
Mhm.
not from where they live with what flag they're waving, but who are they? And I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, I have no idea what party people are in our neighborhood,
Yeah.
unless I see something on their lawn.
Right.
But there is such a feeling of community because people are reaching out to, and I thought, wow, if we could all be doing that,
That's it. That is
you
it.
know,
Yes. Yes. If we would all do that, because to your point, it's hard to hate up close. When you
yes,
all listen, if you get to know a person because we all have the same needs as a human being, and you are absolutely right. It's about the relationship, building relationships with each other. And so starting somewhere, like expand your network, enrich
yes,
your life, get to know, because listen, while you're getting to know and supporting the person has the opportunity to reciprocate that. And we
yeah,
all want connection. We all want connection. And I
yes.
think that's a big problem. We don't have the connection. We're not talking to each other. So,
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. Because if you couldn't see what anybody looked like and you just entered into conversation, wow, what amazing things could occur, you
yeah.
know? So I want to know how people find you. I know you have a book, and how do people find you in the work that you do?
Yes. Well, I have I'm on LinkedIn, so a lot of people connect with me on LinkedIn. But I have a website, alicianewton.com. You can email me, Alicia at Learning Path. The name of my company is Learning Path, LLC. And I named it that because this life is a learning path. I encourage that learning from the cradle to the grave. So it's Alicia at learningpathllc.com. And yes, I do have a book. It's an ebook. It's called Believe, Begin, Become. And the subtitle is Affirmations to Remember What You Know. Because we did not come into the world hating each other. We did not come in the world afraid. We did not come in the world divided. And so we need to affirm those things to
Yes.
remember because yes, that life will pull you here, pull you there, but we have to find our center and come back to the center. They're always well, oh, be well, we're whole, we're enough, we're unstoppable. So the book is all about affirmations. I am actually working on updating it because it came out in the beginning of 2019, and so a lot has happened since then. And um, going to publish it as a book. Book will probably be launching it at the at a conference here in Atlanta. But yeah, but you can get the ebook. It is a great read. I encourage anyone to just go on Amazon or Google Play Books and download it and feed your spirit. Feed your spirit. Give from the overflow. We stop trying to give from an empty cup. Affirm yourself. Affirm.
Yes. Say the title again so that everybody go to Amazon. What is it again?
It is believe, because you first have to believe, begin, become, affirmations to remember what you know.
Yes. Beautiful. It hits heart stuff because it and spirit stuff because it's like who we are.
That's
So
it.
I ask the same last question of every guest on my show. This show is called Women Awakening. What do you think is the most important thing about women awakening on the planet in this moment?
Mm. Ooh, awaken to the understanding that taking care of yourself is your number one priority. Take care, women, please take time to breathe. Take time to pray, to meditate, to fill your cup. Because I'm not willing to lean into you. I'm not willing to be vulnerable. I'm not willing to give if I am overwhelmed. Take care of yourself so that you can give and share your gifts because you are gifted. We are all gifted. And if we don't open those gifts and give them away, guess what? The world goes without because you have that gift. And so take care of yourself so you can open your gifts because I need you.
That's right. Take care of yourself, ladies. Alicia, thank you so much for being here. What a treat. How wonderful you are. And I'm so inspired by the work that you're doing. Thanks for being a guest here.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your work and what you are pouring into the universe. We need you. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Bye.
ladies, I just want to say this. I always say the same thing in a different way at the end. And I'm going to start with what Alicia just said. We need you. We need your light. We need your gifts. We need your intelligence. We need your power. We need that energy within you that wants to create harmony and bring love to the planet.
Yes.
You are totally 100% essential. Thank you for being here. Come back and I'll see you soon. Much love.